Warm blessings, everyone. This is Master Shaman Palai Chi. If you guys are tuning in to me, thank you so much for doing so. If you don't know me yet in this channel, this is Master Shaman Palai Chi with Fali Healing, and I compassionately guide seekers worldwide through my channeled wisdom to uncover their trauma, karma, and hidden abilities. These are gifted abilities bringing transformation, empowerment, and elevation to the soul. So, if you don't know me yet, this is who I am. I am a shaman that has been self-rising with um, my lineage from my mother, grandmothers, and so on. Nhớ rằng của do Master Shaman ba lại thì của do ít tu niệm nên niệm nó sáu sĩ gì thơ khí thơ khó tiểu sinh tiểu xìa ba chế khu chia vần thiết cho này còn mù tàu chủ tổ tàu chi nữa do này chỉ tàu nó bao nó chỉ là do thì ba của trong đời cho cái support nó chỉ ní ba thơ của channel and nó mù like subscribe and đầu tụi tây nữa mà. So if you haven't already, support the channel through a like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Also, go check out follythehealing.com for any healing services or products that will help you. These are spiritual products that will help boost your spiritual journey or your shamanic journey. And all the information is down in the description box below. And give me a juju chi, everyone that is on. Go out there and on the chat, go and put your a question that you may have in regards to our topic today. And actually, our topic today is going to be something very interesting. We are going to be talking about what does it mean to be a shaman in the modern world, and what does that look like to a person that is trying to rise themselves or trying to find this place of maybe what they think is not really going to be panning out of what they think, right? So what you think today may not be what really will be when you become a shaman or when on the way to becoming a shaman, right? So today I wanted to discuss or just have some kind of information out there for you so that you kind of have this picture in your mind that is not like a dream, like this is not all glorified dream, though the persons that get there, it could look like it's very glorified and they've kind of got up to this one at this level. But when it comes down to it, the truth of it, the matter is there's going to be things that you will face. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be all kinds of stuff that we're going to talk about today. But before I go there, I wanted to also say that I will be doing and announce this, that I will be doing a 3-card pull today for someone special that is a winner of a drawing that we did about 2 weeks ago. Her name is Sue Bartow. If Sue, you're listening now, this is going to be towards the end of the show today. So congratulations to Sue Bartow for winning that drawing. And we did have a ton of people sign up for the drawing, but our special winner is Sue Bartow. So Sue, if you're listening now or later, or come back later if you want, but go out there and let me know after that reading if that makes sense for you, okay? If anyone has any questions or comments, I want you guys to write that on the chat. I'm going to be looking and monitoring the chat, but I'll post something right now to get it started. I'm just going to do Juju Chi because it's Freeing Friday. And don't be afraid. I'm not going to, judge you. Freeing Friday, Juju Chi, and, put your hearts and stars. We love hearts and stars. And let me know how everybody's doing today, where you're coming from, kind of type down in the chat. Where are you coming from? Are you coming from, Minnesota, California, Texas? Ohio, New York, the UK, Australia, France, wherever that may be, right? Type that down in the chat for me. Yay, we have a New York person. All right, type that down. You guys are the tribe, the people that are elevating. If you're listening to me right now, you are the people, the humans that are true humans. You are elevating. You are wanting. You are having this deep desire to elevate, and that's why you're listening today on why and what does it mean to be a shaman in this modern world. So I'm going to go back a little bit, okay, and talk about some things here. Um, so type their questions down. I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to repeat that because this is a no judging zone. This is if anybody judges anybody in the chat, please boot them out or, say something so they can go. But please also I don't want any profanity or, negativity. That's the least thing I want on my channel or anywhere else that is on this path, and I'm sure you don't want that either. So go out there and let me know where you guys are coming from. Type down the state that you're coming from. It just helps to know where everybody is listening from. If you are listening to this not live but later, please do that as well. It's helpful to know, so everybody can connect with everybody, because we are all interrelated beings. And with one person doing something, if there's a group doing something, or like I talked about, the collective, then you're going to be in it too. So whether you choose to or don't choose to, you're still going to be in it either way. If you are a human being with human emotions, you're going to be tied to it, whether you choose or whether you don't. So that is my belief. You can believe what you want to believe, but this is what I'm saying. So, um, congratulations to Subarto, and it's going to be towards the end. Now, if you guys want a card pull, I may do that today as well. Let me see how much time I have. But if you want to do the card pull, go out there and do a donation, whether it's $3, $33, whatever. If it's monthly, that's even greater for the channel. That'll help support me keep coming out here for you guys and giving you some valuable nuggets, gold nuggets of information that you are not going to hear anywhere else and anyone else like me tell you. Okay? So, a pressing question have come across, all the experiences that I've had for the last like 10, 15, 20 years here. As I was going into my shamanic journey, not that I wanted to, but it hit me at a young age, at 2 years old, if you don't know my story. Um, and the pressing question that has come across is, Master Pali Chi, would you check and see if I have spirit guides? And this question always comes up when it comes to someone really wanting to hone down. Why is it that they've been going through all kinds of karmic issues in their lives, and they diagnose themselves this, right? So why is it that they have had these issues with people? They have not been getting along with their family members. They haven't gotten along with maybe friends that maybe backstabbed them or betrayed them, and or maybe just bad luck energies in their life. And so, or maybe perhaps it's also illnesses that they've had, and if they've had it for maybe a couple years, or maybe they've had just a phenomenon that happened to them, like a paranormal activity, or wherever they move, they would have, they would see ghosts and see spirits, and it would bother them, or have, sleep paralysis, to dreams that are very reality like, or vivid dreams, or lucid dreams, and they don't know why these phenomenons just happens for them. And it's like they're trying to figure it out, on their own. For a while, they go to YouTube, they go and they check out books, and they read on books, Are they going crazy or are they not? And these are people that are like you and me. They probably are gifted but don't know it. And maybe they cannot believe that they are gifted because they grew up in a family that doesn't believe in those gifts. They grew up in a family that maybe went to church and was like, no, you can't use those gifts because it is demonic, and they'll call it that. And what does it mean to be a shaman in this modern world? Well, it means that, I have a whole list, and we're going to go through that list, okay? But wherever you're watching from, go put that down in the chat because it tells me that people out there are truly wanting to excel. They are truly wanting to be empowered, and they want to elevate their soul. Because if you are not that person, you're not going to be watching this show. Okay? You're just not. And so this pressing question comes across my desk, comes across my readings and healing sessions. And there's, even though they come and they're like, okay, I want to know about my relationship, or they don't say anything and I just plain do a reading, because with me, the more you the more you don't talk, the less you talk, I'll put it this way. The less you talk, the more I know. Okay? The less you talk, the more I know. And that's all across the board for how I do my on point readings. And it's called on point readings for a reason. I'm not putting my ego out there, but this is what I have to say because I've come across for the last, since 2006 when I went public with my spiritual and shamanic healings and readings. When I went more public in 2011, 2006, I went public as more family members. But when in 2011 was when I started my business, Falipi Healing, I put it out there as, I was very, very humble, and I still am. But most people, the way I communicate, I'm very modest. So they don't understand me and they've misjudged me. And this is about being a modern shaman, right? So you get all the kicks, you get all the criticism because I was out there being one of the first shamans in the Hmong community. Guess what? My crowd that came to me, the people that came for help and healing first and readings was non-Hmong. 95% of my clients were other than Hmong, okay? And that's just the truth of it. I'm just going to put it out there. But being that first person, that first shaman healer that went out there and blew up my business on social media and told everybody, encouraging everybody that's out there and hidden as a shaman to come out with your gifts. If you've got gifts, well, get it out there because we are actually, this is back in 2011 when I was on social media. I started in 2009 and then slowly went up to 2011. And in my own spiritual levels, was a master shaman at that point. And it was very drawn upon me, urged for me to be out there as a shaman because I needed to encourage all these rising shamans to not be afraid. And that's where I came from. That's the part, that's the intention of where it came from. It was God led, right? God led because my guides are telling me this. I was schooled by spirit and telling me you got to get out there, Chi, because people need to have this. People need you at this time, and there are going to be some people very afraid and not being awakened due to the fact that they are scared that they're going to be judged once they are in their journeys. They're trying also to become spiritual, but they're not going to be able to become spiritual because they don't have that role model out there. And we've chosen you to be one of those role models, the 1%. And I'm like, wait, hold up. Hold on, because I'm not ready for this. But I got threw out from corporate. Well, when I say that, not literally, but I left corporate, and the moment I did, it was like a backpack off my back. And if you heard this story before, it's because it's really prominent. And this is the when it where it goes, do I do I break this? Do I burn this bridge? And I've burned that bridge a long time ago with corporate. And the transition in it was a 2 month period for me. So 2 months, I got my website up and going. This is being spirit schools, schooled by spirit. I got my website up. I've got everything ready to go. I had an office and it was ready to go. And it was clear as day to me of what my purpose was. Clear as day. And I was out ever since, that July of 2011, with Folly Healing. So if you don't know me, that's a little bit of my background. But you can definitely go out to follythehealing.com and check it out. I'm not going to be any more modest anymore as much as I can, though I will be because it's instilled in me by my parents. Thank thank God for them. Um, and they are no longer with me, but they will always be with me here in spirit. So I understand grief. I understand your traumas. I am a trauma specialist and a karma specialist to uncover, especially through they call it the secret library, right? The sacred library out there in the universe. Some people know it as I don't even remember the name right now. So there's so many things going through my head, and that's what's going to be going through your head when you become a shaman because you've got two parts of you. You've got, well, the two main parts of you, right? You've got your human part, and then you've got your you working within the spiritual realm, and that's just the truth of it. And if you don't want to spend your time working with two realms or maybe more than two realms at one point in time in one specific time and place, then you're not going to be fit to become a shaman. I'm sorry to say. Um, and if you can't take criticism and take it and leave it and just be humble about what people don't know, and that's why they're criticizing you, and you just know what you know, then you're going to have to just, you know, pull it back a little bit and take it easy. Because when I go out there, I'm pulling back the curtain because this is behind closed doors. This is how someone is going to feel because I've been through that. And I know that most of you that are out there that are trying to become a shaman, and I'm going to talk about this right now. So, with this pressing question, there's three main kinds of people that I've come across. So I've come across in my years of doing spiritual readings and healings. So I do chi energy healings. I do psychic readings, spiritual readings, and we do those on point readings, right? So all kinds of readings, but they're really just on point readings. They get to the nitty gritty, and you don't have to speak a word. The less you say, the more I know, and it's very prominent to me, okay, of what's going on in your life. And the main thing comes out, and if it hurts you, then it's going to hurt you. If you already know it, then great. It's a confirmation. But what's been very prominent to me that almost everyone that's crossed my path has been, this person that who has, it's the person that has become spiritual but wonders about themselves. So it's like that first person, they're becoming spiritual. They want to become spiritual because it seems exciting. They maybe have saw ghosts or, had bad dreams that these dreams that are very reality like, or maybe they had a phenomenon, something that pinched them and went across their path and said, hey, wake up. And it called them to wake up. It chose them to wake up. But now they're just kind of like dabbling a little bit, like, I don't know what this is. I don't know if I should believe in this. And because this is so weird to me, it's a new phenomenon. It's a new experience. I'm kind of scared about it, but at the same time, I want to know more about it. I'm kind of freaked out, but I want to know more. So there's this one that wants to know more. This one kind of person, right? So if you're that person, say yay that this was me, or this is me. And there's also the person, this is this again, this first person is the first type of person is they've gone through maybe some illnesses and they don't know why, but then they're like, "Ah, it's weird, but I'm not going to believe it right now. I'm just going to keep moving on. I'm going to keep experiencing and until I get it panned out." And they're this person, and they're just kind of scared. They're kind of frightened and doubtful of if there's really a, you know, 5D, if there's really a consciousness collective out there. Is that even real? You know, are we really interconnected? This is that first type of person that I'm talking about. This is one of the type of persons that I've come across during my years of spiritual readings and healings. And this is the type of a person, when I give the readings, they're like, wait a minute, but they're blown away at the same time. And I love this type of person because they haven't, they don't have an ego about spirituality yet. And they are just like blown away when they come by and I'm at the expositions and I'm like, hey, what's your name? Okay, this is what's happening. They're like, wait, hold on. Well, how did you know about this? And I said, well, I just know. And the less you say, the more I know. And there's this type of person, okay, because they're just barely getting into their spirituality. They don't know about shamanism yet. They're just kind of like, I don't know about this. Is this real? Okay, so that's that person. Okay, that's one of the persons that's been prominent. The next person, the second type of person, is one that has a deep desire because they've experienced multiple experiences of phenomenons. These are spiritual or esoteric, non-tangible phenomenons that's been kind of haunting them. And really, it's not really haunting them, but it's calling them, it's choosing them, it's like, invigorating them to try to find a spirituality part of them that they've lost, or that they actually had but didn't want to believe in, right? And they actually were born with, but again, don't want to believe in, and has doubts. But yet they are dabbling around, and they are wanting, and they have this like desire to find out more, to find out more. And they're like in the, I call it the middle people, because they're sort of not the beginners, but they're also not advanced. And they're just right in the middle. And you can be in the middle, like, for a year or 20 years. It doesn't matter. But you haven't gotten there yet. So you are kind of dabbling still. And you're still kind of like, I can't reach that door, or I can't open the door, and I can't, see behind that door because I feel like I want to see it, but I don't want to see it. And I don't want to spend any money to find out more because I don't, I have, my mindset is not helping me to do that. If you can realize that, right? If that person, if that type of person can realize that, then they are actually in the good. But if they still can't realize that it's their mindset that's stopping them from everything else that's behind, that closed door on their gifted abilities, and they can't hone in on it, then they're still going to be dabbling for years to come. Okay. But in this modern world, that's what it's going to also take, and we'll go over that in a bit. But also, there's the next type of person. Okay, the next, these are three people. If you're just joining, these are three people, three kinds of people that I've come across in my years of doing spiritual readings and healings. So the third type of person is the one that thinks that they've seen it all and they have it all already. And they have a huge high ego. And yet they have so much more to learn. I can tell because when they come and do a reading, I give them the reading and lay it all out for them. But they're like, that doesn't make sense for me. And I said, well, this is what I see. I can't go back on any words because that's the truth. And if you don't want to hear it, then too bad, because that's what that's what's coming to me. That's the message that's coming to me. And they're like, but that doesn't make sense because I already did this and already did that. And I said, there's still something yet to be opened for you and to you. But you still have yet to learn, and still has yet to empty your overflowed cup. And they said, well, Master Paulachi, I read this, I read that, I saw this on YouTube. What you're telling me is everything I already know. And I said, great. Did you use it? Have you put it to use? And if you put it to use, this and this didn't come out yet for you. This is the result that didn't come out yet for you. And it'll kind of make sense to them. It'll admit to that, but they're still in denial because why? They became back in denial, just like that. The very first persons that didn't want to hear these, and the ones that didn't want to get into spirituality yet. This is like the very, first type of person I talked about. These are the extreme ones in the first persons, right? The first kind. And they are the ones that didn't want to know about anything spiritual. They're like, don't tell me anything about spirituality. I don't want to know. I'm in, full denial of anything spiritual because I believe in this. I believe in this, right? They're very strict. They're very, in the box, in their box. And so when you become very more spiritual, or you think that you read all the books, you put some stuff into use, you found some things, but then still you're getting a reading because you think that you have it all, because you think that your cup is overflowed and it's like you're full, but then yet you're still getting a reading. So what does that mean? That means there's still some healing to do. That means there's still some things to learn. And there can never be a full cup. There can never be an overflowed cup if you are still learning. But if you're not going to be learning, then of course your cup is going to be full. Of course you're going to be overflowed with all the knowledge that you think that you have and you hold and that you're going to be using. And then when you get a reading, you're in denial. So what does that also tell me? That tells me you're right back where you very in the very first time where you started to open up to spirituality again. You went through this whole journey from point A to point B, and then now you are back to point A because you went through it. You thought you knew everything, and now you're back to point A because now you think that you know everything, and your cup is so full. Now you're going to have to empty it again because that's why you're getting a reading. That's why you need some kind of suggestions or healing help or whatever it is, on point reading, right? So first off, we're back, where back in the days, in the ancient days, and even nowadays, there are two kinds of human shamans that exist. Human shamans, because there could be demigod shamans too, back in the days. We haven't seen that yet back on Earth. Well, that is prominent, but we're just talking about human shamans, okay? Human beings that are shamans that exist and that I need to clarify. Because why is there a need for clarification? There has been a mixture of so much talk in and about shamans that this needs to be very clarified today. And if you know this, and you know this is true, when I'm about to, pull the cover on, then you can please go out and share this with the world. This video, go out and let people know what that truth is, because this is the truth. I'm pulling back the curtains, and it's just going to be, real simple. So number one, the two kinds of shamans, the human shamans that exist. The first kind is the self-taught shamans. Now, these are individuals who got a calling, they got a calling, okay? This is the calling from between them and God, right? Them and the universe. And thereafter, that calling was schooled by spirit 100% originally, and can function daily through their shamanic trainings with no hand holding from any other human resources whatsoever. Even though they've been initiated by a grandmaster shaman or a master shaman years after their shamanic journey or shamanic training with the spirits, right, that they were schooled with years after that began. And this is like the 1% of all shamans, of all human shamans in the world. Now, number two, the second type of human shamans, and this is on a very high level. I'm not even going into the nitty gritty of the details of different types of shamans, but I'm going into the very high levels of the two kinds of shamans that are human that exist in our world today. The second kind is an individual who chooses the path and gets lessons taught by a shaman, like another human shaman, or sifu, or master, or whatever you want to call them, a teacher, basically. Even though they have some gifted abilities and they still need to release a trauma or traumas, still need to release traumas and get themselves prepped to hone in on their gifts. This will also become a higher percentage of the time and energy and dedication to their learning is with this teacher, which is a master shaman or sifu, or whatever you want to call this teacher, mentor, right? Therefore, without being handheld and coached, they will not be functional in their shamanic training alone. Anyone that can, so anyone um, can become a shaman or sifu taught, okay, in this day and age. They can be taught by a sifu or another master shaman or healer, and transcend and travel the axis mundi, if they, and go to different worlds, if they can, as long as they can meditate, they can do that. If they really wanted to now in the modern world, you can do that, as long as you have the can put in and commit to time, energy, money, and have the prerequisites, right? It can be done, and with your efforts. However, if you want to be that 1%, you're going to have to be willing to listen to your calling. And even if you're at the 1%, you will initially and even later on need the help from a master shaman, okay, or a grandmaster. So, how many of you in the chat, type it down, which type of person are you now? Are you number one, the first kind that is like really not believing in all this and you're just kind of listening in? Or number two, you are on kind of the spiritual journey, but you're still dabbling. You haven't put in the time, energy, efforts, money to do what it takes to get there. And then number three, you are the one with, you've done everything, read everything, you think you got it all, and you're just kind of listening to what I have to say because then you want to compare and contrast. You want to confirm if this is also you. So put that in the chat. You're not going to be judged. This is a no judge zone. If anybody judges anybody and is negative, then I want somebody out there that's listening to boot them out, right? Um, Michelle Yang. Michelle Yang says, I think I'm either one or two. Okay. I think you're about a two, Michelle. I think you're a two. Kay Jing says a two. Anna Moore says number two. And you go back from dabbling. You can't really go back, Anna, once you dabbled. You're just gonna keep dabbling on if you dabbled. That's just the truth of it. So that's kind of where we're at. If you are Um, you know, in one, two, or three, if you're one of those persons, either one, you're going to have to become and go back to either humbleness or either I'm going to take the next move forward. If you're number two, I'm going to take the next move forward. If you're number three, you're going to be like, okay, I need a step back. I need to step back and just take it easy and listen. Okay. Teresa says, I think I'm a two. Derek Holmes says, I think I'm a two. And most of you, believe it or not, are going to be the number two because if you're listening on the show today, you are mostly going to be number two. And Mary Thal here says, I remind me one, but um, could be a two or three two. LOL. So most of you are, if you're not the egotistic one and you're like, I got it all. If I'm getting a reading, I just want to know, I just want to confirm. Yeah, I just want to confirm. But really, what you're doing is you're not confirming because you are not quite there yet. That's just the reality of it. And you need more hand holding, you need more help, whether it's from spirit or another human being. You need um, that help. So, however, becoming a shaman in the modern world, you get to deal with daily life struggles, right? How much of you deal with struggles? Put that in the chat. Even if you're a dabbler or in your number two, you know, you're still dabbling, you're still kind of really not putting in the efforts or the money or the energy because you're still at that mindset that you need to release trauma. Um, how many of you have already felt the daily life struggles, right? As even not yet a shaman, but trying to rise, trying to get up there to that level of connection, get up there to the level of consciousness that you really want to be at, right? You're out there and you want to be there. So you want to really find that part of you that you feel like it's missing, right? So how many of you are that? You know, so when you deal with daily life struggles such as cultural or belief clashes, right? How many of you have that? Being judged due to your outfit. Because when you become a shaman, you're going to deal with all this. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. You're going to be judged for how you think, what you say, even if it's just a little bit. Due to your outfit or uniform, you're going to be judged. Even if you're drawn to wear it and you're going to stick to what your guides say or stick to what your master or sifu says because that's what they told you, and that you have to do this for spiritual purposes. You're going to get criticized for your practices, whether you are one who is drawn to use your gifted abilities in a business, to charge fees or not to charge fees, and to barter and trade your services. Whether you become a business or maybe a more personal shaman, like you just do it for friends and family, you're still going to be judged, especially if you are out of the ordinary. And trust me, I've been there a lot. Been judged for that. Oh, Master Pali Chi, I don't know why you charge so much. Well, there's a reason for that. And you get for what you pay, right? So, um, when we talk about on point, we talk about on point. There's no joke, right? Um, Bitcoin Graffiti says, I have confrontations every day of the week. Yeah, how many of you have confrontations every day of the week, right? Especially if you're trying to get out there and you are trying to just ignore all the judgments and you don't care what people say. You are going to be judged and being confronted on the daily basis. You may get criticized for your gifted abilities, right? If you did a psychic reading, if you are psychic, and now shamans are not made equal. I will say this because it is the truth. Shamans are not made equal. One shaman is not going to be a psychic, and the other shaman is not going to be a chi energy healer. And a shaman can be a shaman in its own, meaning they do healings, they can trance, they can go into different worlds and dimensions to retrieve souls. But that shaman may not be psychic. That shaman may not be a psychic medium. That shaman may not be seer. That shaman may not know how to do certain rituals like the other shaman. So I want to get it clear today that all shamans are not made equal. So don't go from one shaman and say, oh, I heard this from this shaman, but how come you, the other shaman, shaman A didn't say this and shaman B says this? So I'm confused. Well, every shaman is going to be different, like every people is different. You can't categorize shamans in one category as all shamans are the same, because all shamans are just like anybody else on this planet. Any person or individual is going to be different. They're going to have their own style. And there might be groups that will have the same style. But again, each individual will have different spirit guides. They will have different ways of doing and practicing their shamanic healings. They're not going to practice the same. They don't have all the same equal gifts and abilities. So please get that cleared, right? So all shamans are not made equal, but they will be criticized. Similarly, some are going to be criticized more than others, especially if you're doing practices that are a little bit different looking than the traditional way, right? And I've been there as well. You have singing shamans, and you have shamans that don't talk at all, but they know what they're doing. And then there's some shamans that act like they know what they're doing, but they're not truly yet a shaman. I want to say that too, because we have those out there. We call those charlatans, right? Back in the days, because they don't know what they're doing, and maybe they know a little bit, but they act like they know a lot. It is those ones that don't really talk much when they go to a crowd of people. Now, this is the traditional way where they don't really talk much, but they also know. So, I want to say that. So people get criticized because they are stereotyped and they're going to be put in one group, and you know, there's going to be some judgments around you, especially if you don't follow rules and regulations, per somebody else's rules and regulations on how a shaman should be. There are etiquettes that you should follow if you are becoming a shaman. But if you are a shaman, you have to follow rules and regulations of your spirit guides or of your master or sifu, where you're disciplining from. Specific spiritual guides, or you know, as you, if you are a disciple, you're also going to have time constraints. So, how many of you have also had time constraints on your back? Especially with your spirit guides, spending time with them and learning versus with your family versus with events that you feel like you humanly want to go to, but you can't because now you're supposed to meditate tonight, right? On a Friday. And that's okay. But that's where you put your energy towards. What is it that is your priorities, right? So your human desires versus your spiritual disciplines is also going to be clashing. Making money versus staying poor, right? They often will say, well, shamans usually don't charge money. That's bad of you. That's a scam. Well, you know what? We're in the modern times, and you're not going to have a cow for me or a pig. You may, but that's also not valuable to you, depending on, right? And it's whatever the guides say that I shall charge, or maybe I will barter, or maybe I will exchange, right? Depending if that energy is similar to my energy that I'm going to be giving out. Will it reciprocate? Is also the question. And sometimes, from my experience, it doesn't have to reciprocate for me to heal somebody, especially if that person I know does not have the money. Okay. For, for example, does not have the money means they're on the streets and they are, homeless. Then that's a whole different story. But yes, I'm going to charge fees as long as there are fees to be charged. Okay. Cutting ties versus patching things up, right? Are you going to do that when you become a shaman? And even on the way to becoming a shaman, you could have been doing that already. How many of you have cut ties with people that you maybe loved, but now don't get along with you because you are more conscious. You are becoming more conscious, and they don't believe in that stuff, and they never did, and they never will. But perhaps one day they may change their mind, or would you rather patch up things and just be fake with them and hold them as friends? There could be two of those, or both, both doing both of those at the same time. And this list can go on and on and on, right? Because most of the people who who you're going to be leaving behind when you are on the way to be a shaman, most of those people, depending on where you are, kind of where family and friends are at their levels, you may be leaving, like Bitcoin says, 90%. Okay. And most old friends are gone. So there's this whole part of you that's going to be leaving the people that are at a certain level. Like back in 3D, we talked about this the other time that I was on live, that you're moving from 3D to 5D so much this year. All human beings are trying to get there this year, like hustling to get there. It's more than any other years that I've seen spiritually. Okay, so that's my diagnosis for you guys. But you are going to be leaving friends. You're going to be having fake friends, perhaps, if you choose. But again, you know inside of your heart that those are not going to be your true friends when it comes to wartime, when it comes to survival. You're not going to be calling them up and saying, hey, come over and help me with this. Or even if you do call them up and, hey, I'm going through this, can you help me? They're not going to help you. Fake friends, fake family members, right? People that are not loyal to you, you're not going to want to be around. And I've told this to so many people already that I cannot live with people who are dishonest, that are backstabbers, people who betray, and that are false. I cannot live with those people, and they're going to have to go out the door because they will have to go and be with the people that they need to be with in order for them to climb and learn and remove karma or get over and rid of their karmas before that can happen, right? So, good vibes only, guys. Good vibes only. Type down in the comments or in the chat, good vibes only, because that's kind of where we are headed. Um, and all of you has been very good on that actually today. Um, So you're going to be dealing with this whole list that I've just went over, and it's going to be harsh for you right at first. Some people are going to get it more harsh than the others, but I tell you guys this, the ones that get hit the most with the most negative things is going to can be called to be at the 1%. Okay. If you think you've gone through hell already, well, let's get it down to the nitty gritty that you haven't seen hell until you've been to hell in an NDE, okay, near death experience, and back, okay. So once you think that you've had a really bad, um, you want to have, if you don't have it, that's great. I'm glad you never had that, never went through an NDE experience. But if you have gone through an NDE experience, I know you, I feel you, I've gone through it a few times, and know what it's like. And if you haven't had shamanic illnesses, then great for you. I hope you never get to go through that. But if you do and have, then I feel you. The tears that you've cried, I wrote this on my Facebook post a while back. The tears that you've cried, I know them blue because I've been through them too, right? And all the things that you guys have gone through, whether you're in the 1% or whether you're not, whatever type of person that you are, 1, 2, or 3, I've been through that as well. So questions out there, you type down your questions if you have questions. Um, so whether you're guided by spirit or mentored by a human teacher, most individuals who desire to become a healer or shaman or will or should undergo shaping to discipline themselves according to the spiritual laws of the universe. Now, most human teachers are not going to know all the laws of the universe, but they know some. But if you're guided by spirit and schooled by spirit, then they're going to teach you those laws of the universe. Relearn your moral values and virtues, because that's what you're going to need to do, because you were more human and now you're trying to be more shaman, more spiritual, right? More spiritual and then more shaman or healer type. And if you want to get up there, then you're going to have to relearn the moral values and virtues and your etiquette. Etiquette is so important, right? And then communication skills and etc. You're going to have to learn all this, relearn all this. If you're out there and deeply desire to become a shamanic healer in this modern world, then I want you to ask yourself these four main questions or points right now. Why do you ultimately want this? Why? What is it for you? What does it have to do with you? What's your intention and drive? Right? Is it a benevolent one, or is it something that you just want to do because you want to get the power? You want to know how that power feels like, right? I say that because it's not really about power, right? It's about you. It's about you getting more conscious to knowing the truth at the end of the day. What does it take, right? The number 2 question is, what does it take to get there? What are those tools and methods that will help you grow spiritually? And then how do you think you're going to get there? Where is it? Where is this place, person, or thing that is going to be able to help you? Question that. And some of you may have questioned it already, right? Because your passion in the healing arts is what is going to drive you there and drive you there the farthest. If you don't have that passion and you're just kind of dabbling because you had a few phenomenon here and there and you're kind of just wondering what ghosts is all about and what this, these dreams are all about, and you're just curious, then you will always be a dabbler. And that's not going to make you. And that's not going to break you either, because you're still in it for many, many years. That's the biggest group. And then we've got the ones they climb up and they've read a ton of books, or they've gone through a ton of materials and resources that they read up on themselves or for themselves, but they're not quite there yet in practicing shamanism. And maybe they're not there to practice for other people. Maybe they're there to practice for themselves. That could be it too. But either way, if you don't have this form from the start, you are truly meant to have are you truly meant to have your gifts? And you may have your gifts, but you use it for yourself or your family, and that could be all, right? And that's all you're going to do. But lastly, but most importantly, your mind, so that your mind is conscious to the truth of all the things happening around you. Like I said, your mind you're getting this, you're choosing to go and dabble because you've gotten like an instant here, there, and everywhere else in your life, maybe during a couple of years when things were going were really harsh, and you've gotten some experiences that were esoteric or intangible, and you felt those phenomenons so interesting that you started to dabble. But is it calling you to become a shaman? Or the other question is it just calling you to find out the truth of this life, of the life that you're living in this lifetime? And not everyone is going to be called to become a shaman, but you will be called, everyone will and is being called to become more conscious and spiritual because that's where it lies. And if you can't get there, then you can go check out my webpage. Um, so, any questions for me? You can put that in the chat. And if you found this discussion beneficial to you, please support my channel through donating in the link in the description box below. Also, in closing, I'm going to give a spiritual message to everyone. But before I do that, I'm going to open up the cards for my lucky winner, Sue Bartow. So, Sue, if you're here, give me a Juju Chi. And we're going to do this for Sue. 3-card pull. Let's see what comes for Sue today. Sue Bartow, this reading, 3-card reading, is for you. Here we go. All right, Sue Bartow. There's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, Sue. Sue, you're at a 50-50 on these are the cards I got for Sue. You guys want to see them? Sue, you're at a 50-50 point right now in regards to how you want to move forward with your life, with your spirituality. Do you want to do more or do you want to do less? That is a big question. If you want to do more, then you will need some hand holding, some guidance, and some coaching. If you want to do less, I don't suggest that, but I do suggest that you move forward in your career area that you have been very passionate about. And this passion has come out more recently in this year time to 2024, Sue. And you're at a point where you are kind of scared if you should move forward in this career area that you are going in, that you want to go in, but and you're kind of happy there as well. So I feel that this passion has come up to a level of 0 to 10. You're at about a 5, 6. So you're at a 50-50, hanging on the fence there, Sue. But I want to tell you to go ahead and make that leap because if you don't make the leap, especially in this year, and this is almost the first quarter is gonna be ending. So if you don't make that leap, this is actually your time to leap and take that leap to conquer what you have been kind of sitting on the fence for. So that's where you're at right now with your career area. Do it. You know, if you don't do it, then you're never going to know and you're never going to believe that that is a passion for you. So you need to go in and actually take action, Sue. 50-50, you're still kind of at this closed door, Sue. From a 0 to 10, you're at about a 5. About yourself, your willpower is still at about a 50-50 right now. Willpower wise, you are unsure to you move forward and also connecting with relationship even more than you had been before. I'm also seeing a grandfather that you need to connect with in regards to spirituality. Well, he wants to connect with you, this grandfather. But there seems to be some kind of blockage or maybe not willing to fully connect because you're still questioning if you should go forward with your spirituality. It has gotten you some hurts. You've been hurting from your spirituality. It's going back to what we just talked about today. What does it mean to be a shaman in the modern world? And for you, what does it mean to be spiritual in the modern world? Because when you become more spiritual, everyone, you are going to be hitting those bumps in the road that is going to be very hurtful. People that's going to judge you, people that's going to um, not want to be around you. You're going to be cutting ties and all that stuff that we talked about. And there's daily things that you're going to be facing, confronting. Like one of the persons had talked about that they're confronting these things every day. And Sue, you've been confronting some things, and I feel that you need some guidance. So I'm going to tell you that you need to move forward in your spirituality. I wouldn't want you to move backwards because that's not the way to go. Everyone wants to excel and elevate their soul. So you are one that should do that, Sue. The other thing is your relationship area. It needs to pan out. As what I mean is, you do need to make reconciliation with some people that maybe have been thinking you've been thinking if you want to actually cut them out of your life, and maybe you shouldn't cut them out completely, but let them be there and you be there for them as well, because there are also the people that you once loved. So I suggest you to make amends with some of them and just move forward in your spiritual journey, Sue. Okay. So Sue, this is for you. And you are definitely my number two. Number two meaning number two type, meaning you've been dabbling, you've been sort of in the phase of spirituality. There's been some phenomenons that's happened for you, but you're not really sure what kind of energy you want to put into it. And you do need to put some energy into it, Sue, and give it some commitment. Okay. Once you can give some, just say yes to the commitment. If you say yes to the commitment, you're going to start to find out that that's the right way to go. I'm going to stop here, Sue, and I'm going to pull up a card for everybody at this time. Let's pull up a goddess guidance card. I don't do tarot cards like this in my readings, but I like to pull them during the lives for the universal message um, for everybody. So why don't you, everybody, take a deep breath and just relax as we went through that whole spiel. And here we go. And we've gotten one of the things that I specialize in is past lives, past life. I see. The card says this situation involves your past life memories. So whatever you're going through in this coming week, weekend, and the week to come, there's going to be some things popping out for you if you are conscious to it that will pop out, that has popped out and, to your face or confronted you in a past life. So whatever you're going to go through in this weekend, this coming week, has something to do with a past life memory, has something to do with a karmic cycle that you have been running into. And if you've met some people that's been negative or some things that has gone negative, I don't want to say right off the bat that that's karmic, but I do want to say that that can be karmic or that can be a distraction. Okay, so because things can be things that situations and people that you meet can be met on distraction basis or karmic basis or benevolent basis. So that's with good karma. So I'm going to stop there. Okay. Warm blessings to all of you. And if you find that what we talked about helped you to get moving on and motivated you in some way, shape, or form, given you some kind of a gold nugget to move forward in your spiritual journeys, even though we've had some downfalls and some upfall, some up leveling, um, go out there and subscribe and share the video with whoever that you feel that needs this video right now. Go out there, support the channel with a donation to the channel, um, and give me a holler when that happens, right? When you have something that you need to share, share it out there. Again, I don't mind you sharing as long as it's good vibes, and it's not bashing anybody else. All right. Warm blessings from Master Shaman Palai Chi, and connect with me on Facebook and other social medias if you like. And we'll be out there and seeing you next time. Bye bye.